Hey everyone, welcome to the Cantrill Show. You are here, my friend, because you are a woman who is falling back in love with herself. You believe that doing something for yourself is important, but having the potential to change is not the same as actually changing. So, our goal with this show is to introduce you to women who will help you get unstuck. So please, help me in welcoming the self-love matchmaker, Kat Cantrill.
Hello, ladies. Welcome to the show. I'm so excited to have you all here for today's episode. If you're brand new, hello. I am Kat. I am the host and the self-love matchmaker, and I am thrilled to have you here. I'm giving you a huge digital squeeze from me to you. Welcome to the sisterhood. Let me give you just a little brief summary. The goal of our show is to discuss the self-love matters that affect women the most. I've made it my life's mission to help women understand that their one true match is themselves. Welcome to a special episode. I am thrilled to introduce to you Leanne McMahon. She is a dear friend of mine and a world traveler. And not only is she a world traveler, but a solo world traveler. And I've been hearing a lot, because I keep my ears open. A lot of women buzzing around about how they can't wait to travel. They've always wanted to travel and they're just waiting to take those next steps to finally get that passport, to finally hop over the pond, they say, and to seize their life and to see what is out there. Leanne is this incredible human being that has been in my life for the last couple of years. And I have listened to her stories, and she's done this all on her own. And as I was talking to her, I thought that she would be such an incredible guest to bring on, to have you ladies listen to her stories and her wisdom of traveling alone. And not only traveling alone, but traveling over 40 countries alone. So ladies, let me introduce to you Leanne McMahon. Well, hello, Leanne. Welcome to the Kat Cantrill Show. I'm super excited that you're here. Welcome.
Thanks, Kat. I can't believe we're finally getting to do this. This is awesome.
I know this is. So I would love to talk about how we met, but I'm going to go ahead and just hand it over to you. As you ladies are listening to this show, you're going to leave feeling inspired, and in a post-COVID world, most likely you're going to hop on the next plane and go to the destination of your dreams. So, Leanne, why don't you go ahead and tell our listeners a little bit about you?
Hi, Leanne McMahon. I live on the bottom end of the Gold Coast here in Australia. I'm 53 years old. I got my first passport at 44 years old, have done a lot of traveling, and have now been to 42 countries solo.
Oh my gosh, 42 countries. I don't even think I knew that. Okay, so before we dive in deeper, one of the things that I always ask my guests is even though that in itself is a fun fact, because not a lot of people could say that. So what is one fun fact that nobody knows about you, Leanne?
Oh, one fun fact. Well, a few, but not many know. At 46, I actually bungee jumped naked in a canyon in New Zealand. Because it was free. Otherwise, it was going to be $350. So for free, you could do it naked.
Oh my gosh. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. So, okay, wait. Oh, I love you so much. Okay, so it was free if you were naked or
Yes.
clothed for $350.
Yes.
Is that what I heard? Okay.
$350 to go bungee jump, but if you would do it naked, it was free.
And you just went ahead and just took the plunge.
Yep.
That is one fun fact that probably not a lot of people know, other than the people. Did you do it? Were there other people like around you?
There was other people
Or
up on the viewing platform that was probably about 400 yards away.
okay.
So there was the three guys that had to harness me, and they kept saying thank you, thank you. It's usually guys. We never get a female. And we
Oh my
got to the
gosh.
edge of the ledge, and someone up top's gone, I think she's naked. So I just jumped, jumped. There was no wait.
Oh my gosh. I love
It
that
was
story.
exhilarating.
What is so at when you were done, like did you regret it? Because usually sometimes when people do something like that that's so vulnerable, they instantly will have like some form of like regret or like, oh, I wish I didn't do that, or is it something that you absolutely would do again?
I'd do it again in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Yes. Oh my gosh. Well, Leanne, do you let's talk about before we go into your story, which you have such an incredible story. Before we go into that, do you want to share with our listeners, or we both can, about how you and I met?
I got to meet this absolutely beautiful lady at a business
Oh,
retreat, my favorite island, the Isle of Mujeres, off the Cancun coast in Mexico. It was it was awesome actually getting to meet you. It really has been a pleasure knowing you so well, Kat.
oh, I feel the same way about you too. It's one of those, as women, and I'm sure our listeners can relate to this, when you meet another woman who you just feel like you could be sisters, like you just have this like instant connection. It's almost like this magnetism, like this magnet that kind of like pulls you together. That's how I felt when I met Leanne. And I say it. I've told her this, and I've told several people this, that Leanne was like the most favorite thing I got from that trip was having creating this amazing friendship with you. So I'm just so glad I got to meet you, and I'm so glad that we're still friends and that you're here on my show. Who would have thought? That was
I
haven't that was
know.
what, 2 years ago? Two and a, oh yeah, over 2 years ago that we met, and who would have thought that you would be a guest on my show? So
I know, right?
yes, yes.
And I can't
So
wait. Can travel, and I can go on one of your next away trips.
oh yes, one of my next retreats. Yes,
Retreat.
there is one coming. So listeners, stay tuned. There is something in the works, but I'm here to talk about you, my sweet sister. So let's let's talk about let's go back before the travel. Let's go back to, so you and I met on a business retreat, and at the time you owned a roller skating rink in Australia.
Yeah,
And so I
yeah.
love your story of your passion for skating and how that started and that led you to own the business. So do you want to tell the listeners a little bit more about your journey when it came to skating, and then how you fell into travel?
Well, thanks to the Mighty Duck movies, my children, I've got two boys, they wanted to play ice hockey. And at the time, there was no ice hockey skate rinks close, but there was a roller skating rink. So both my boys started playing inline hockey or roller hockey. And being the good parent I am, I started on the committee of the club. And we actually lost our skate rink. Our local council actually tore it down and turned it into a car park. So, as a committee member, we worked hard and we found a building to work on to actually turn into a skate rink. Next minute, I actually owned a roller skating rink. It was not my intention. I'd always been in jewellery, and it was the biggest accidental business I actually ended up with, owning a roller skating rink. At the time, I was married, two gorgeous little boys, 12 and 14 years old. 6 months in, my then husband decided that he was out. It wasn't working. So all of a sudden, I'm a single mum with a brand new business, huge business, and two little boys to chase. And it was sink or swim. So I just head in and went hard and actually managed to develop a really strong, powerful skate rink. It was all about family, making it a safe place for family and kids. I ended up at the peak of it with 23 staff. We were open 7 days a week and very well known in our area because we were the only skate rink for a radius of about 100 miles. So that's how I got into skating, all because of the Mighty Ducks and the videos. So out of that, both of my boys ended up being national players. I myself got into the sport because I got so sick of sitting around watching them play. I started playing as well. So I've also played at a state level. I've been invited to tournaments in New Zealand. I've played in America, which was just amazing. And I've actually got to play in Canada on a frozen lake, which was like the bucket list top goal, to play ice hockey on a frozen lake. So that's where I've gone. And thankfully my sport started me traveling and I found my passion and just love traveling so much.
Oh my God. I love hearing about how you fell in love. You've kind of accidentally fell into skating because of your children and found out that it was something that you enjoyed. And so you chased that passion. And since you were chasing that passion, it led you into something else, which was owning your own business, which then in turn, it was like one thing after it, like stacked on top of itself. And then by owning your own business and by having this roller skating rink, and exposed you to different opportunities, and then to travel, to then you again found another passion. And I think that this is such a good example for women who are so afraid just to take that first step. They don't realize that it's important to take that first step in order to really be able to find and discover new things about yourself. Don't you think?
Oh, most definitely. That's the hardest part, is taking that step. I'm a good procrastinator. I really am. I will find ways to put things off, have to make decisions. I will avoid it as much as I can. And then it gets to a point, it's like, well, am I going to keep hiding, or am I just going to take that first step and do it? And the places I have ended up in my life is absolutely amazing. I have to pinch myself, but I have only got there because I have faced my fears. And at times it's been hard. I have been in some terrible situations, but you just have to decide, no, I'm going to try it. What's the worst that can happen? Honestly, if you have a go and it doesn't work, try again. But it can work. And oh my gosh, the things I've got to do, the places I've been, the people I've met, is all because even though I was scared, I've still tried. And it's amazing where life will take you.
Yes, I think that fear keeps women away from chasing their passions and being able to accomplish their dreams, because usually they always claim that it's these outside sources that prevent them from being able to take those necessary steps but ultimately I feel that it's our own fear. It's a fear of the unknown. It's us getting in our own way. So when you started, I have to ask you this question, because I kind of went through something similar where I opened up my business when I was a single mom. You had a business as a single mom. When you owned that business, what kept you, instead of like throwing in the towel and being like, I'm getting a divorce, I'm not going to pursue this anymore? What was the driving force? What kept you owning the skating rink and to keep continuously building that business? Was it your boys?
Um, it was money, but not the make money. I had everything on the line for that, my house, my car, everything. So if I walked away
Mm,
from that business, I would be back to zero. I would be have nothing but a pile of debt. And so it was, okay, let's pull up your big girl pants and just work hard and you can get there. But I did a
yes.
lot to help myself too. I learnt, I did courses to learn how to run a business. I was forever learning, 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 and developing and evolving, and found strengths that I never realized I had. There was no way I thought I would make it. I was, I had been led to believe that I'd never amount to nothing, that I wasn't very good, I was useless. As a female, I wouldn't be able to do anything. I wouldn't cope with having to be a mum to two boys. And I find I'm very good at challenges and proving people wrong. And I suppose that was my drive, that I actually pushed and pushed, and it was like, I can do this. I am a strong person. It's a lot stronger than I ever realized I ever was. And yeah, did it. Made a strong business, made a very loved business, and actually proved a lot of people wrong.
Yes. And I love to hear that too, that it was you were driving yourself. I mean, I think that, yes, I think that family is important. I think that pleasing other people, I think a lot of women make decisions in their lives based off of everybody else, but you stayed in the game for yourself to prove to yourself that you could do it. And every time that you took that step and you proved everybody wrong, it kept building up your confidence.
That's right.
Um, I love that. So, okay, so you talked about getting your passport. How old were you when you got your passport? And was that work related first? So you started traveling with work or with skating
Yeah,
first. Is that how that?
yeah.
Okay. So,
So I was
walk us through.
44. 44, I got my first passport. I wanted to go to a business conference in Las Vegas because that seems to be where they all are. It
It's
actually,
true.
yeah, it actually was a roller derby conference. So I got invited by one of the leading manufacturers of roller skates in America. So Rydell invited me actually over to go see it. So I decided 8 weeks before I left to do a crash course on how to play roller derby, bearing in mind that I'd just spent probably the last 8 years on rollerblades and actually had to go back and learn how to roller skate. So did a crash course, how to play roller derby, landed in Vegas. Scariest thing I've ever done in my life. I cried pretty much the whole way over. It was
Oh my
just so
gosh.
scary. LA airport is so big. I was on my own. I'd never done anything like this in my life. It was just freaking me out. But I made it to Las Vegas. Scott, that is one of the head CEOs of Rydell, actually found me in a corridor crying and just put his arm around me, took me for a cup of tea. Come on, we'll get you sorted. Introduced me to a whole pile of people, got me sorted in my room, and I have gone ahead leaps and bounds since. It was amazing. So that was how I got my passport and got myself first overseas.
So then when did you start like really listening to yourself and being like, okay, this is something that I really enjoy and something that I want to do more of? How did that all
Okay.
begin?
So I've had a few health battles. When I was 30, I actually had a major stroke and was completely paralyzed down my left hand side. That
Oh my
took me
gosh.
about 5 years to get back over and get myself going and normal again. Um, then, while I had the actual skate rink, I actually had another four minor strokes. while I actually was running the business, which each one of those basically wiped me out for a year. When I say wiped me out, it left me like with chronic fatigue, very tired, very fuzzy brain. I've been very blessed that I've had awesome staff that work with me that love the place, love the skate rink as much as I did, and helped me get through that. And then I suppose when I got to 47, I had my eldest son had a very bad motorbike accident. We didn't know for 16 days if he was going to live or die. He got through that and out of ICU. We ended up spending 3 months in hospital with him. During that time, my mother also had dementia and was put into a nursing home. She was quite bad. So I had all this going on while trying to run my rink. We got out the other side and I thought, you know what? Life is so short. I've had 5 strokes. I've watched my son nearly die. By that stage, my mother had passed and we'd buried her. And I thought, it's time for me. I was with my ex-husband from a very young age. We were together from when I was 17. My 21st was my engagement party, married at 22, house 23, kids 24 and 26.
Yeah.
So here I am at 47, nearly actually turning 48, and I had never been Leanne. I had always been someone's fiance, someone's wife. I had been mum. I had been boss, business owner, but I had never, as an adult, just been Leanne. So I once again was at another conference in Vegas, skating again, and I had this epiphany. And it was like, I've always wanted to travel the world. You know what? I've got to work out how to do this. So I came home, talked to my sister and said, I want to travel the world. How am I going to do this? Do I sell my house? Do I sell my business? I don't have the money to do it, but I want to do this right now. And she laughingly said, why don't you go to the bank and ask them for a loan to renovate your house? So that afternoon I went to the bank. I actually asked them for $50,000 to renovate my house. And they said, yeah, sure, no worries. Here you go. When would you like it? I said, can I have it tomorrow? They said, yep, no worries. 3 weeks later, I was on a plane and I went and backpacked around the world for the next 12 months. It was that quick. So
it's like you just needed that one, just that little extra push. And I think that you said something, and I say this all the time to the women that I coach and the women who I meet, is that when are you going to start being you? That you have always been you, but we've allowed the roles in our lives to change us in a way to where we believe that our identity and who we are as women is based off of all of, like you said, business owner, mom, caretaker. And I actually did an episode on this very topic because so many women deal with this on a consistent basis. That you don't have to be that. Just because you're all of these things, it doesn't mean that you stop being you, that you have to stop being yourself, that you should be able to do the things that you've always wanted to do. And just like you said, be Leanne.
Yep.
To finally just like step back and listen to you, and to be able to discover something brand new about you, which is that you wanted to travel. And you go all in. You are a naked bungee jumper. So we know that you go all in. So it isn't that you're going to go to like an inclusive resort, off of the coast of the Bahamas. You decide to go backpacking around the world for a year.
Yep.
So when you were backpacking, what happened? Like, did the people, because so many women are afraid to do these things or to take these risks in their lives and afraid of what everyone else is going to think and what is everyone else going to say. Did you have any of that in your, at this point in time in your life when, because I'm sure that it kind of gave a jolt to everybody where you left and everyone was like, well, where's Leanne? Oh, she's backpacking across the country. So how did you, like, did you get any pushback? Did people push back, or were they like your cheerleaders and being like, yeah, go Leanne?
It was mixed. It really was.
Mm,
There was so many, oh, be careful. And they kept sending me on Facebook things about terrible situations and whatever. Um, Look, to be fair, I just didn't go straight out on my own. I went to Europe and I booked a hop on, hop off bus ticket.
mm,
So you had certain spots you could hop on and hop off, but there was tour guides on there to guide you. And honestly,
mm-hmm.
it started in Paris. I sat in my room the day before the tour started on my bunk and cried for all 4 hours thinking, oh my God, you stupid old woman, what do you think you are doing? You're in a country that doesn't speak English. You're on your own. You're about to jump on this tour that is predominantly early 20-year-olds up to maybe 30s, and here you are, 48. What are you doing? You're an idiot. But I hopped on that bus the next morning and it was the best thing I ever did. I got to meet so many amazing people. So that's what I did for 2 months in Europe. It was hop on, hop off with wherever you want. Um, and I found the young ones, as long as you have energy and you're happy to say hi, they include you in everything. They're like, what are you doing? And more often than not, because I can be a little bit of a party girl, I was the one that picked them all up and carried them home at the end of the night and made sure they got back to bed. So when I traveled doing this, I was always in hostels with the young ones. I love hostels for the fact that you're never alone. You can choose whether you have a single room in them or you can sleep in a 35 bed dorm. You can sleep in women only rooms or you can sleep in combined rooms. But when you go downstairs to that common room, there's always someone. And you say, hi, how are you? And they'll start talking. Quite often there's a glass of wine or a beer involved. And there'll be some going, oh, we're going to go do this, this, and this tomorrow. It's like, do you mind if I tag along? And they'll be like, yeah, no worries, come along. And that's how I did it. And that's how I've managed to meet the most amazing people. I now have more friends, I think, outside of Australia than I do inside of Australia. And there's times where it was hard. I had to really push myself. I could sit in that corner and there'd be a room full of 20-year-olds and I'm just thinking, no one's going to want to talk and hang with me. But I'd push myself and just sit down at a group table and go, hi, how are you? I'm Leanne from Australia and I'm backpacking around the world. And the conversation would start from there. It's that simple.
Yeah. It's not every day that people get to meet someone like you, Leanne. So I'm sure that Leanne, if I got the pleasure of meeting Leanne in person, and she absolutely has this amazing, beautiful energy and light about her. She, I know
Me cry
that Leanne
again.
can make. I know that Leanne, she can make friends anywhere, but I think that this is really good advice where it's not that necessarily you're traveling alone. I mean, you are, but you're not. So you made a conscious effort you knew that this was something new, that you put yourself in a tour groups so that you can make, not only see the countryside and to be able to have these experiences, but that you get to meet new people. Do you find that when you started this journey that people at home were did you find that people at home that you were inspiring other women at home, or did you find that it was the opposite where women,
No,
I don't know how to say
definitely.
it. Yeah.
I had a lot of women living vicariously through me.
Yes.
Um, Yeah, they followed my journey. Some have said, "Oh, I'll never travel," but at least I get to live my travel world through you. And some that were very adamant that they could never travel have since gone and traveled
Mm.
because they've seen what I have done. And that is just awesome and inspiring to know that I could have helped them get over that fear and actually go travel.
Well, and this is one of the reasons why I wanted you here, because I know you're such an inspiration for women. A lot of the women that I've had the honor to bring on retreats with me, a lot of them never had a passport. Same as you. And I didn't even have my passport. In fact, I didn't get my passport until I might have been older than you. Wait, hold on. Let me think about that. No, that's not true. I got my passport at, well, I don't know. I think I was 45 when I got my
Oh, there
passport
we
for the
go.
first time. Yeah, maybe so. Yeah. So I,
We're
I,
late
I'm,
bloomers.
I was a late bloomer, but because my story is very similar to yours, right? I was the same thing, a businesswoman and taking care of kids, mom, all of the things until you realize there's more to life. And I think too, especially for us older women, there is a point where we hit midlife where we're like, it makes us reflect, where we sit back and go, wait a minute. What am I doing? And there's all of this world and there's all of these people and these amazing experiences that I'm not having in my life. And just like you said, women will live vicariously through you, but they're so afraid to take those steps to actually have those experiences themselves. Hello, gorgeous. It's Kat, the self-love matchmaker. I'm interrupting today's episode because guess what? I've decided that I am going to give away a spot in my 21-day self-love challenge program. You heard me right. I want you to enter into my giveaway to my 21-day life-changing program, the program that gives you 21 tools, 21 days of assignments, 21 videos to help you set the foundation of self-love and to help you reconnect with that inner woman. All you have to do is go to katcantrill.com/21day and enter in my giveaway today. But you better hurry up. The winner will be announced April 6th. So head on over to katcantrill.com/21day and enter in my giveaway today. All right, now back to the show. I remember when we were in Mexico, you told us this story. This is such a great story. And I want Leanne to, I'm sure she has a million of amazing stories, but I just felt that this one. So when Leanne and I met, I remember her standing in the street. She is very tall. I remember she's very tall, beautiful, this curly blonde hair, and just came from Cuba. And I was like, mesmerized. I was just like, she just came from Cuba, and I was like, by yourself. Even I was like, this is an incredible woman. And as we kept talking, you told us about this story when you were in Cuba about diving off of the boat that you were living or you were staying on the boat. Is that correct?
Yeah, I did a 7-day tour on a 50-foot catamaran out of San Frago, and it went around the islands and little islas of Cuba. It was just the most magical area.
And
So,
you dove off of the boat for your dinner. Do you want to tell our
yeah.
listeners about that?
So because Cuba is still communist country, it's not overfished. So every day we went snorkeling, and so every day this boat would pull up in another area that was just so pristine and so natural. We used to jump on in, and we used to catch our lunch and dinner every day. So you jump over and catch fish. The boat captain and the cook too. We often used to be the bag man for them, but one day there was just lobster everywhere. So we were just diving down and grabbing lobster, and we ate that for dinner that night. Now, those little buggers are strong, I've got to tell you, and they're really sharp. I absolutely shredded my hand. But
Oh my
yeah, it was
gosh.
just amazing. The little islands that there's nothing there. It was just absolutely beautiful. So if ever you get a chance, go to Cuba. I did do tours in Cuba. I like to do the tour. The tours, when I do a tour, I like to do with a little 12 or 16 people maximum. And you get to make, once again, really close friends. Um, and so if you're a bit unsure of a country, that's how I do it. I'll book a tour, do there, whether it be 7 day, 12 day, and then I always have a few days after. That way you've learnt the run of the land, you've learnt how things work, how to do travel, money, how people are, and then you're right to go off in that country on your own and explore. And I find that's a good way to do it.
Yeah, and you and I were talking before we hit the record button about traveling alone and meaning the experiences that you receive when you're traveling alone versus in a group with a group of people. And one of the things that I teach my clients is to date themselves, no matter what that looks like. And giving themselves dates and opportunities to where they can be with themselves and be able to meet other people. I find that when we are by ourselves, we are truly authentically ourselves, meaning we're not putting on a mask because we need to impress this person that we're with, or we're having to censor ourselves because we're so afraid that we're going to hurt someone's feelings. When we travel alone, I feel like that is really ourselves to the core. Would you agree with that?
Totally, totally. I had to laugh when I came back from my world tour. It was like I found myself. I yeah, 49 years old, and I finally went and traveled the world and found myself. But it's so true. You actually learn a lot about yourself. You have time to see how you deal with things. You rely on yourself. Um, it was a very huge growth time for me. My only regret I ever had was I didn't do it when I was younger. It took me, but I'm so glad that I actually got to do it now because I have grown so much out of it. And it's funny, Kat says that I can talk to anyone, everyone, and I'm such an outgoing, bubbly person. Before I went and travelled, I wasn't. I was the introvert. I suppose you'd call me the extrovert. I found it very hard to talk with people. I didn't have a lot of friends. I didn't trust people. Um, I have done a full circle. I am so opposite to what I was before I went traveling. And I still have moments where I can sink back into the old Leanne, being very introverted, and it's like, no, I give myself a kick up the bum and say, no, don't go back there. You've dropped that. Keep going, talk to people, learn, meet. It's it's a new me. It's something that I developed from traveling.
And you would have never discovered that part of yourself if you didn't
No,
overcome your fear and just do it. I
it's like
think,
I don't know if I've overcome the fear. It's still there.
right.
I've learned to step through it. I still have the
Mm.
fear, but I step through
Hmm.
it and go anyway.
I feel that travel is one of those things that people have taken for granted during COVID. I think that people realize that either they really love to travel or they've really always wanted to travel. And that's why I feel like after people continuously get vaccinated and COVID becomes more of not we don't talk about it all the time and we're able to start traveling again, that a lot of women are going to want to travel. So let me ask you, if you've never traveled before and you wanted to go internationally, what is your advice? Where do you think women should go first if they wanted to travel solo, since you've kind of been everywhere?
You know, the prettiest place I have ever been is Iceland.
Okay.
Iceland, they speak English very, very well. Um, it is a very magical place. It's an awesome place to start. I know one of the top of my
Well,
bucket list is to
go.
watch the Northern Lights. So I really want to get
Yes.
back up. So I was lucky enough to, after Iceland, I went over to Scandinavia and I got to Norway and Sweden and Finland and Denmark, but and Estonia, Russia. That's one place I'd like to get to too. But I really want to get
Mm,
back up and see those Northern Lights. See,
I
my
agree with
list is
you.
endless. There's 197 countries in this world, and I've only been to 42.
Yeah, so you've got yeah, there's plenty more to discover, which is
It is.
amazing. I love it. So, okay, so let's give our listeners your so I asked Leanne to tell us her top 3 reasons why women should take the plunge and travel solo. So, Leanne, what is reason number 1?
I've forgotten what we discussed already. My reason number one is to find yourself. Honestly,
Mm,
find your true self because you will. You get to be just you. There's no expectations. What I love the best, I suppose, traveling through hostels. There's no what do you do? What do you own? How much money you have? There's none of that. When you travel, it's about where have you been? What country do you love? And where else are you going to go? So you get to be just you with no pretense of anything. Whether you come, it doesn't matter what your background is, it doesn't matter how much you have. I managed to travel quite cheaply. Um, it's totally, you get to be you, and that's it. Traveling solo, you get to meet so many people. If you travel with a friend, you'll find you don't meet anywhere near as many people because you'll always talk with them and do stuff
right.
with them. Whereas when you're traveling on your own, you get sick of being on your own, honestly. You get sick of listening to your own thoughts. You're desperate to talk to somebody. You're desperate to have a laugh with. And it gets to a point after a long time, you actually need that personal contact, whether it be a
Yeah.
hug on the shoulder. So if you do it solo, you actually get to meet the most amazing people. It
Which is your
really
number
is.
2.
It
Hmm.
is. And my number third, you get to do what you want, when you want, where you want. You don't have to follow anybody else's rules. Sometimes,
Yeah, there's
you
no
know,
agenda, there's no itinerary, there's, you get yeah,
you know,
that's really yeah, you just get to do whatever you want.
you're not going with a friend or a partner and they're like, well, I don't want to do that. I want to do this. It's
Right.
like when you're solo, hmm, let's do this. Okay, let's go. It's that simple.
Yes. Yeah, I would agree with you. I think that that is one of the perks of doing anything alone is just being able to meet the most incredible, amazing people. I know for me, when I've had experiences on my own, I've had the most amazing experiences and have met the most amazing people. And you learn about yourself, learn so much about yourself.
Definitely do. And the biggest thing you have to learn is to go eat in a nice restaurant solo and not feel intimidated by it.
Oh my gosh, Leanne. So for people that watch this on YouTube, I'm like, I'm throwing my hands in the air because this is exactly, I tell the women in my life, please go take yourself out to a fancy dinner. Please put that amazing lingerie on. Please, you don't have to wait for special occasions or people in your life to do the things you've always wanted to do or that you
That's
can do
right.
as a symbol that you love yourself.
Yes,
Yeah, take
definitely.
yourself to a fancy dinner. I would agree. Yeah, 100%. Do you feel that in your travels, do you find a lot of women that are traveling solo, or do you feel that it's something that's not as much as common as men are?
Not as common. Usually
Mm-hmm.
it's the guys that are all solo.
Mm-hmm.
Women do like to run in packs. That's how we do it. Um,
Right.
it's just, yeah. There are the solo ones. I would say probably a quarter that I've met were solo females. The rest were traveling with friends or partners. But definitely a lot more guys travel solo. So
But there
usually
are
I end up,
women. There are
there
women.
are women. There are women, and I've met some amazing solo women that I've then. And sometimes when you travel long term, you make day friends, you make week friends, you make lifelong friends. And so you'll
Mm,
have people that you just hang out with for the day and you have an awesome time, and then you go different directions. And then you'll have others that you're around and you'll extend where you're staying because you guys just click. You've got the same likes and you'll stay and travel. And then you've got those lifelong ones that you keep going back and you see as often as you can and catch up with. But you never know where it may end up. It's just the exciting and the fun part of traveling solo because you just never know where it's going to lead.
right. So to kind of wrap things up, okay, so if I'm a single woman and I'm listening to this and I want to travel alone, but there's something that's preventing me, do you have any words of advice for me? If I want to travel, but I'm just almost there, and I really want to take the jump and the plunge and to do this on my own. Is there any final words of advice that you have for me?
The best thing you can do is find a little tour group, jump in with them. Usually it's all solo people on it. Very rare, but rarely is there couples in these little groups. And that gives you a taste. It gives you a taste of how the land lies in whatever country that you've gone to. You get to meet the people on the trip. So, you may go really well with some, others that you just make lifelong friendships with. So that's a good way to test the waters. So you're traveling solo, don't get me wrong, you're still traveling solo. You're just with a
Right.
group for a week to see how things work. They take the stress out of when you first time doing it, trying to organise accommodation, trying to organise travel. Let them do it, let you test the waters, and you'll find from there, you'll be like, right, I can do this on my own. I'm doing this, I'm out. But it's a good way to start.
That's great advice. And so, I mean, ladies that are listening, it can be done. No more excuses. Get your
None
passport.
whatsoever. Get your passport, put on your big girl pants, walk through that
You
fear
got this. Yeah.
because I still have times where I let the fear creep in. But it's like,
Sure.
no, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And all your friends will actually be in awe and they'll be amazed that you've been so strong and that you've been so brave. And really, you're just going having travel and you're having fun. You don't look at yourself as strong and brave, you're just doing you. But you can do it. You definitely can. If I can, you can.
Yes. Oh, Leanne. Okay, so one last question that I always ask my guests is, what is your favorite of active or your favorite form of excuse me, your favorite form of self-love that you do for yourself?
I'm very good at self love. I've learnt to do it a lot more. I actually take myself off once a month and have a massage. I
Mm.
treat myself because I deserve it. No one else is going to do it
You
for
do
me.
do.
So I go and get a massage once a month. And I suppose my meditation time is I'm lucky to live on the beach. So every morning, the dog and I go for a walk down the beach. Nothing interrupts my walk, except for this talk with Kat today. My morning walk has been posted, but I will still be going on a walk, and that's my me time.
I would agree. I think me time, having that alone time with yourself in the morning is a very special love note that you can give to yourself to start your day. Yes, Australia is 16 hours ahead. So even though it's nighttime for me, it's the morning for Leanne. So when we set this up, I was like, "Is it okay we do it in the morning for you and the evening for me?" And she was so gracious and she said yes. So I appreciate Leanne, you being here. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. It was so good to see you.
Thank you so much for having me. It has been awesome.
And thank you for sharing all of your amazing, beautiful stories. And I'm sure that our listeners, that there are women out there who are listening to this show and you've given them just that push that they need to finally start traveling. So thank you, Leanne. And I'll see you.
My pleasure.
And I'll see you later. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Leanne, thank you so much for being a part of the show. What an incredible journey, right, ladies? I'm sure as Leanne was talking about her story and about how she didn't get her passport until her mid-40s, I'm sure that you can see a lot of similarities of your story to hers. So don't let fear paralyze you. Go out and get that passport. Take those trips that you've always wanted to take. Quit making the excuses. And give yourself these amazing opportunities that are just waiting for you. It's all up to you. All you have to do is what Leanne did and just move through the fear and discover new things about you. They're just waiting. All right, ladies. Thank you so much for being a part of today's episode. And again, a gigantic thank you to Leanne. It was so good to see her again. Thank you all again, and I will see you all next time. Bye. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode of That Kat Cantrill Show. Will you do me a favor? Will you make sure and subscribe, like, and share this episode with the women in your life who you feel that can benefit from our messaging? And what did you think about today's topic? I would love to know down below. And if you haven't already, go and follow me on social media already, would ya? Go and follow us at The Kat Cantrill Show on Instagram and on Facebook. And as always, if you're interested in my products and services, you can find more information at katcantrill.com. And as a reminder, you are beautiful, you are deserving of your own love, and you are worth your own time and investment. And I'll see you next time. See you. Bye.